It's on. Okay, let's go. What is up, y'all? It's your boy Chris here of 1980 Something Co. Welcome to episode, I believe this is episode 5. This is episode 5 of the 1980 podcast, Runny Chat 2.0. Today's guest is a fellow Instagram live host by the name of Finalflamevintage. Many of you who are tuning in are going to know him because they run lives pretty much every day. He is 1/3 of the People's Fleet, which is an Instagram live collective that goes live, like I said, pretty much every day. Everyone meet Henry.
What up, dude? We're just waiting for Haley. Haley's grabbing something real quick.
Nice. All right, cool. So we're going to have Henry and Haley.
I'm Henry from Finalflamevintage. I mainly do the live hosting. We also sell. So I usually do like the sales on live if we do sell. Right now it's mainly been hosting. We also have our own app. So we've been in development with that. Haley does a lot of like keeping stuff together. She's essentially like just managing everything. So we have an employee also. She keeps that together, oversees work that he does, but she also keeps me on track too. So she handles a lot of like, she helps me, me and her together. We handle a lot of DMs.
Hi,
Here's Haley. Here's Haley. What all do you do? You do a lot. She's like the one who, she's like the glue that keeps it all together.
I asked because usually when you guys go live, we only see Henry, but we don't see what's going on behind the scenes. I don't even know if I definitely didn't know that there was more things going on behind the scenes. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely like, you'll see me in the host chat every once in a while. Like, I'm kind of like HR / like marketing media / management / glorified secretary for this one. I basically go wherever I need to be. Because at this point, it's like what our page consists of is everything that he does. So being a host, selling on lives. So if he's selling that day, then I'm in the background and I'm gathering payments. I'm messaging buyers. I'm watching the live.
She's my manager essentially too. Yeah, she's essentially my manager. Like, so, like you have Angel, right?
Yeah.
Angel is like the one keeps you on track and like handles a lot of stuff like as far as like people reaching out to you. Like when people reach out, they're talking to Haley usually.
Yeah.
And then they're talking to me. So yeah, Haley's essentially my manager. And everything else because she's also my wife. So she handles a lot. She holds down a lot of like she said like the admin, HR type stuff, all that stuff, and then
and HR by any disputes going on between buyers and sellers type situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She's helping. Yeah, I mean, we both handle a lot of that. But while I'm on live, because I tend to be on live for like 8 to 10 hours straight, she'll be handling all those cases because there's a lot of cases that pop up.
Yeah, and then
Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah, it is.
No, go. This time you go ahead for sure.
But yeah, that's all I do. It's just like HR, and then a lot of the stuff on the creative side. So like
flyers,
like all the People's Fleet stuff. Like I created the personalized flyers for each host, and then like real content and stuff like that.
Yeah, she does a lot. I mean, it's mainly she does a lot. I'm like on camera and I sell and stuff and host, but like she does a lot. Yeah, exactly. I'm the talent. She's the manager.
That's what Angel calls me. She's like, look, you are the talent. You focus on what you do. You're the face. Let me do all the other work. I'm like, all right, whatever. Which is really hard for me. And actually, Angel started out as my friend. Like we got really close through the pandemic and through the lives and stuff. And, she's over here at my house weekly. And she's the one that had to tell me, like, hey, at a certain point, you better start considering having help with you. Because I'm very I think that's my bad trait is that I want to just have control over everything and not in a bad way, but just like I have to know everything, all the moving parts. And it's not up until recently that Angel is kind of just like, I'll be like, what's going on with this? And I am asking her all these questions because I like to be fully aware of everything going on. She's like, look, just relax. I got it taken care of. And at first when she was telling me that, like we kind of butted heads because I was like, no, I need to know everything that's happening. But now I really appreciate that she handles things before they get, she makes sure that she handles the situation all the way up until it has to get to me, so that now she can tell me this is what the situation is. You know,
Bro,
I feel like I was kind of
insane.
overstressing myself with all the little details a lot.
That's crazy because that's exactly our situation.
Literally the same thing. Sometimes you know how it is. Like it can be stressful for you guys in your position because you literally are on a focal point where you have to focus on what's right in front of you at all times. But there's so much going on in the background that you get blindsided sometimes when something pops up and you don't know about it. So I understand that you would, feel like, oh my God, like I need to know everything that's going on. And sometimes he'll try to jump in and handle something that's not in his lane. And I'm like, you need to focus on what you need to do so you can do what you do best and just let me handle it.
I'm just trying to be everywhere at once. I'm like, oh, I got to handle this. I got to do this. I got so much responsibility.
Yeah,
and then,
isn't it kind of tough to like to trust someone? I mean, even though it is your wife, it's just that it's hard to let go because you're like,
oh,
I need to have a hand in everything.
100%. Especially when we were transitioning into that. You remember because when I started the Instagram thing, she was holding down our eBay business and our employees there, and it was one of those things where once I started transitioning her and our employee into our Instagram side, it was one of those things where it was like, man, you guys, I was like, what was it? I was like backseat driving everything. I was just like, you got this, you did this, make sure to do this.
Oh, he still does.
Well, because I like things done a certain way. I'm very, very particular. So, but she got it down. It took a little bit.
Yeah, once you trust, you're like, damn, why wasn't I doing this the whole time? So how long have you been married?
7 years this year. Yeah, 7 years this year.
Nice. And how'd you guys meet?
Instagram. We actually met on IG. How do I say it? I slid in the DMs. And I slid in the DMs. Yeah, she actually lived out of state. She lived in San Francisco. I lived here in Washington State where we're at right now. And yeah, I don't know. I just found her. I found her on IG and through like a mutual friend. I was just like, hey, what's up?
Man, that's so cool. Like, so you didn't have any past with her. It's not like, oh yeah, we went to middle school together at one point. No, you just saw her on IG. You were like, I'm feeling this vibe. Sent a DM.
Yeah.
What was that DM like? Because I feel like that's valuable information to a lot of people these days.
I was just like, hey, what's up? Any flaws? No, I was like, no. I was like, what did I think I said one word. It was like, or one line, right?
Yeah.
It was, I was like nothing even like, hey, how are you doing? I'm Henry. It wasn't like introducing. I think I said, what did I say?
You said, you're so cute, I hate it.
That's what I said. That was the first thing I ever said to her. First thing I ever said to her. I never said anything prior. I slid in the DMs.
He was always following me on Instagram.
Yeah.
But then
we liked each other's pictures, commented on each other's pictures, like, hey, oh, heart eyes, all that stuff. And then slid in the DMs one night. I got home after hanging out with some homies. I think we were at like the bar or something. We came home and I was just like, man, I'm just gonna slide in, see what's up. And then I said, I don't know why I said it, but I just said, you're so cute, I hate it. And that was the first thing I ever said. And then what'd you say from there?
You guys don't reuse that line. I don't know that it'll work now. But
it's a really fresh line. It's like playful. It's direct. It's like letting you know that I'm attracted, but also not too direct, like where it's creepy. It's just like playful. I like that.
Oh, it was at 2 a.m. But
oh, wait, yeah, the time kind of makes it a little creepy. Just a little creep factor to it now.
To me now, looking back at it, I'm like, my judgment was poor. But like,
I don't know, Haley. Maybe you were already kind of feeling him at that point. Like, because you said you guys had been looking at each other's pics.
Okay.
Like, oh, you're a little cute yourself.
So let me give you guys the tea. So I actually thought, I thought that Henry was gay because one of my gay besties, we had a lot of mutual
People can't
friends.
tell, yeah.
And, like Henry grew up with a lot of sisters, so he gets along with women like this,
Yeah.
like they're besties. And then, so I was talking to one of my gay besties that lived here in Seattle, and he was like, for sure gay. Like, my gaydar's on point, I know. And so I was just like, okay, he's just like a really good looking man, whatever. And so when he slid in the DMs, I was like, oh, damn. Yeah, I was like, so he's not gay. And yeah. And then I happened to be coming into Washington to visit family. So I asked him if he wanted to hang out while I was here. And then
the rest is
The rest is history. Literally, we got married 2 months later.
He met my entire family after our first date. Literally after our first date.
It was quick, dude.
Wait a minute. This was supposed to be a vintage podcast. This is going to turn into the Henry and Haley podcast now. I need to know more about the story. Wow. So, all right. So already you had we met on the internet, and then now we're jumping into getting engaged or married within 3 months. Those are two things that I feel like a lot of people are going to think are pretty crazy. So what went into that?
Damn.
We're definitely crazy.
Yeah, we're crazy. I don't know, because I've never done anything like that. I've been in like relationships before, never escalated that fast. But it was one of those things, I guess. It's cliche to say, but when you know, you know. But it was one of the things where we just dove right in.
Yeah, I think both of us have been in so many relationships already where it was right away, like right at the first date, we're like, okay,
this is different.
You know, this is what I got. This is what I got going on. This is what I've been through. And, you know, like.
Oh, yeah, we were upfront. We were upfront, like super honest. And that was one of those things where, you know, it was always playing games at first and like going back and forth, kind of like, you know, trying to figure each other out. Now we laid it all out like at the beginning. It was like, here's all the flaws. Here, this has a little bit of dry rot on the sleeve, has this, like, it was like everything. We laid it all out. And it was one of those things where I think the complete honesty factor that we had right at the beginning just led us to, you know, snowball into what we are now. So. Yeah, it was crazy. Literally 2 months later.
I was still living in California, and then right before I was about to go back home after my trip of having my first date with him, then he asked me to be his girlfriend, like right off the bat.
That was no.
And then when I moved back to California, or I went back to California, then it was kind of like, okay, what do we do from here? And it just we kept on getting closer and closer. And then he was like, you got to move back to Washington. And then we got married and I moved back.
Yeah. We ran away. We actually eloped. We instead of waiting for people like planning things, something big, we ran away together, just us. And we got married. We eloped. And we got married on a beach. And we just did our vows and everything. And it was just us two. And it was crazy. It's crazy. We were like, hey, screw the social norms of doing all this. If we want to do it, let's not wait. So it was almost like the equivalent to us flying to Vegas and just getting married, you know, at the drive-thru. We went quick.
That's beautiful. And were you into vintage at that time? Were you already doing reselling at that time?
So at the time, we weren't reselling vintage. We weren't reselling at the time. So during that time, I already had a lot of vintage pieces in my closet. So I was more of just a collector. I bought and maybe I sold a little bit. I sold a little bit throughout like high school and stuff, but it wasn't like where I was making like a normal income from it. So at that time, I was working at as a social media market, so I was doing social media marketing and I was doing management. So I was a sales manager also for an electronic company. And then what I did from there is I would sell on the side. So ever since she met me, I was always just flipping stuff. She's just like, what are you doing? I'm just like, oh, I'm putting this on OfferUp, or oh, I'm putting this on eBay. Because I've been selling on eBay since 2008. So I've been selling on eBay since 2008, which is like my junior year of high school, I believe. And then I was selling in school. Like sometimes I'd buy off eBay and sell like J's and hats that I would get off of eBay and stuff at school because I was into trades and stuff. But as far as like vintage goes, I would say I was just the collector at that point. And you remember when we first met and you came to see my closet?
You had way more clothes than I did. I was like, you gotta be kidding.
I was like, I thrifted all this stuff.
We can't share a closet.
What were you selling in 2008 on eBay?
2008, I was mainly selling like vintage hats and Jordans. Every once in a while, some vintage starter, you know, stuff like that. But nothing crazy. It would be like either be like starter champion, hats, snapbacks, and Jordans. That's kind of like that type of stuff. And then when it comes to or stuff, sometimes I would thrift a pair of J's and then sell them on eBay. Because for some reason, man, I used to be able to pull up and just find J's dunks, and I would just clean them up. I would always clean them up, and then I would work the trade, or I'd restore them, and then I'd work a trade at school, or I'd put them on eBay. And then as far as vintage, now I just kept it. I kept all my vintage. I somewhat hoarded it. Because it was just like, that's why I had so much of it. Garage sales, thrift stores, it was just crazy. So
years and years of collecting before you decided to sell anything.
I mean, and hand-me-downs too, hand-me-downs. Like my brothers and sisters, I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters. And like how we got clothes was the thrift store. That's we each had a tiny amount to for school shopping. Like, hey, we're going back to school. Here's your little bit amount, because we had 4 kids or 8 kids. So there's one of those things where it was like, all right, you got that, but now we can go to thrift stores and yard sales and shop year round. So we did that as a family, and that's how we got all of our clothes. A lot of our clothes was like, I was raised in the thrift.
We just cleared out, or we're working on clearing out some of the back sheds. This is the house that he grew up in. And there's like boxes and boxes.
Clothes from the 90s. Yeah.
If you're Filipino, you know that your mom probably has like these DHL boxes that she would ship over to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. There's just boxes and boxes of clothes from the 90s. And I'm sifting through this stuff, like just hitting gold.
Oh yeah. She so all my stuff from the 90s when I was like a kid and early 2000s, she's rocking it now. She's wearing those t-shirts and those pants. And it's just crazy for me because I'm like, damn, we have a box set aside for like our future kids, and like they're all my stuff I wore in the 90s. And then she's rocking my stuff from the 90s, which is blowing my mind.
Or like his sister and his mom's stuff. They're all like, from all the clothes in there, most of it is like my size. So I got lucky. I'm hitting gold. There's like Nike white tag in there. There's like some Jinko jeans, bunch of different things.
Oh yeah, so much stuff. I mean, and just sports stuff, small soldiers. Yeah. It's just crazy because, like I said, like she's talking about Filipino moms, they hoard stuff. Like, so me checking in, us checking into these boxes, we're literally finding stuff from my childhood that my mom just kept, and she was going to send them to the Philippines to our family, but for some reason they're still there. So we checked through. I found all my old toys, my Super Soaker, a bunch of stuff like that. And this was just recently too, but that's not even counting my family's shed when we went through and we pulled all that old Tommy Hilfiger and the old polo, because that's what when she met me, that's what I was collecting. This is 2015, right?
Yeah, well, that when I got in was 2016. I remember that.
Yeah, this polo, and see all that stuff. Tommy, brands, Tommy. It was. I mean, I still have some of that stuff too, but it's a little bit different now for the market on those things.
Yeah,
waiting for that to get hyped up again. Let's hype it up together, bro. Send me some Tommy pieces.
I still got dope stuff. Like a full Tommy suit, bro, denim suit that was like my brother's back in the day. My brother, it's really sick. I still have it.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is like when you try to hype something, have you tried, like people think that they'll tell me, yo, you should wear this on a live and hype it up. I'm like, dude, what I understand is that if I wear it on a live trying to hype it, it won't work. It has to be, the things that I have hyped, like for example, like Dark Knight tees, that happened on accident. One day on a live, I was like, I bought a Dark Knight tee and I think somebody like kind of made fun of me for it because it was not vintage or whatever. I was like, dude, this is one of the sickest superhero movies of all time. Check out the stash that I have. After that, everyone, yo, how much for your Dark? I need all your Dark Knight.
Boom.
It's the natural. Nah, you could
but it also happened organically. That was real for you, right? So like it's happened with me with like DBZ tees, and it's happened with me with like Initial D, like all these anime tees that are just popping right now. Yeah. And people used to just be like, hey, what's up with that nerd shit or blah blah blah, or like, oh, that's a $50 tee. I'm just like, well, if you want it from me, it's $200. And I just put that respect on it, and indirectly with me just loving it so much, hyped up that market a little bit. So it's one of those things where I can definitely feel it, because like you said with Dark Knight, like there's a lot of vintage purists who will be like, if it's not 20 years old, it's not on my body. And I'm like, damn, bro, like, can you like stuff that came out recently? Like you can like stuff from 10 years ago. Like,
it's this thing, it's this effect that like it takes literally like a transformation in your brain to be able to accept someone else's taste. And I have a funny example of that. So Drina, she's like into this whole like ancestral living. She like goes out, grounds her feet in dirt, and like loves getting sun. And she's like walk, and she's like really on this real hippie movement. I haven't really got too deep into it, but a lot of it has rubbed off on me. One of them being one day she came home. She's like, I want to walk barefoot everywhere I can, as much as I can. We would wear like sandals in the house and like have house shoes and stuff. Now we're just completely barefoot because she talks about how
I heard it was good.
yeah, she's like, it's really healthy for your feet to just walk barefoot. So one day she came home with those toe shoes. I'm sure you've seen me now, I have them, but at the time I didn't. But when she first came, I just could not get used to them. Like just every time she'd be wearing them, I would just start laughing. They just look so funny when you first see them. But, then I got used to them. And then, it was also reinforced with her always talking about the benefits of them and how much because she does CrossFit. So she's like, wow, I'm able to lift so much more comfortably. And one thing that I did when I would lift in the gym is I would take my shoes off so I could just be in my socks. Because, yeah, definitely when you have your feet flat on the ground, you're able to have more power. You feel more of a foundation. So I was like, little by little, I stopped seeing those shoes as funny, but it took me time. It took like reinforcement, and it took it just took me seeing them to get used to them. And I think it's the same thing with these tees. People will see them and they just can't even comprehend, It takes a little bit more understanding, a little bit of getting to know it, and you understand it. So I try to like empathize with people who criticize. I try to empathize by remembering stories like the toe shoes that at first I thought were funny.
Yeah, I feel you. It takes a little bit of time to warm up to it, right? So it's like one of those things like it may be an acquired taste, but like if you have it enough, you might start liking it. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely feel you. That's a good analogy with the toe shoes because because I've rocked those and
he actually has pair.
I have a pair, and yeah.
We did the whole barefoot thing too, years back.
Oh, I hiked in those things. Yeah. Dude, I used to come home just sore as hell. Like going on, like I was like one time, I'm so extreme, bro. I'm like 0 to 100. So I'm like, I was going on these hikes, and I was like, all right, man, 5-6 hour hike, and I was like, let me get the shoes and just try them out right away. And I did it, and I was just like, damn, I regretted it after because I kind of just went head in instead of warming up to it. I was just like so gung-ho about like, oh man, yeah, barefoot shoes, let's go.
Yeah, you got to ease into it because that first week my legs were sore, but I liked that because that means that it's working my legs out in a way that they're not used to. Different parts of my legs were feeling sore. And I have to say now, after a few weeks, like my legs they kind of even look a little bit more stronger. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. I rock with them.
You're activating muscles that with regular shoes don't get activated at all or not as much. So even your feet get stronger, your legs, you can definitely feel it in like the shins and all this. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Question though.
Yeah.
Do you think they can be worn outside of just exercise and fitness? Can you throw a fit together with the toe shoes is what I'm asking.
All right. I tried. I've tried. And people do look, I would say I've tried personally. I don't know if I've done it successfully, but no, I tried rocking a cool shirt. We went to this event in Seattle, and I was just like, I'm only wearing barefoot shoes, 0 drop, wide toe box.
Wasn't your best look.
I rocked a pair of jeans. With the Vibram toe shoes, Vibram 5 fingers. Just like had my hair done, went to the event. But yeah, people were just looking at my shoes the whole time. And they're just like, what are those? Almost just like.
Yeah, that's something that you're going to encounter because, again, people just are not used to seeing that. And I'm telling you, when I saw them at first, I would just laugh uncontrollably. But now I'm on the other side of it, and I love those shoes. And I'm kind of looking at them like, man, can I throw a fit together with those? So, like, one thing I've been doing lately is anytime I'm wearing whatever I'm wearing, like, I just tag them in the story. I'll just tag the brands just to see if they want to holler back, see if they want to do any work or anything. Vibram hit me back, and they gave me their info, so I sent them an email. So we're going to see what happens. But now, more intensely and more seriously, I'm thinking, can we put a fit together with these? Bro, I did try to put a fit together. I'm not going to lie. I was like, man, you know what? This fit, I kind of like it. It kind of looks good with these pants, but they're just not ready for it. I don't know if they're ready for it yet.
You know what I mean? I tried it with jeans, and they weren't like super wide or anything. It was just like they were like more tapered. But I feel like for some reason I feel like the aesthetic would look really good with like an athleisure type of
like
wear, like shorts,
and a tee,
maybe like a tank. I don't know, like because the thing is like I feel like it wouldn't be like looked at as, but like if you try to do it with like a put on the wrap tee and you're rocking
with Carhartt
pants and then some Vibrams. I don't know, but I have
You
to.
have to switch up. It'd have to get a little funky. So the way I tried them on is people watching this probably gonna start be laughing at this. But I put on my toe shoes, and then I had these really baggy cargos, like these parachute pants.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of fall over, and you just kind of see the toes kind of poking out the bottom. It sounds funny. Look, you know what? I'm gonna try on the fit again. I'm gonna send you a pic, and I want to hear your feedback.
I'm down. Because the thing is, like, I mean, I'll rock them. I'll rock them with the fit. Like, but it's just people, and that's not that I care what people think too much. Because obviously, I didn't. I went to an event in Seattle with it, but people.
You wore them to work before.
Yeah, people do be looking though. They're just like, oh, what are those? Like, oh snap! Look at your little
and
toes.
Then you and I've met you. I met you I met you at Orlando, Houston.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah. But we're the same height, so we're short.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. We need all the inches we could get. And those
these take it down. These take it down. I feel shorter when I wear them. I'm wearing them. I'm just like, oh man, all right, man. I was a little bit taller before because some of the shoes, and now they rock forces or you rock something with a little bit of heel on it. It's like you're good, but nah, man. These take you all the way down.
All right. Speaking about styling, though, what do you got? What do you both have on body? Let me see the tees. What do we have on for the podcast?
I'm wearing the Totoro today.
Studio Ghibli anime grill. Yeah. Definitely a dope one. Classic cartoon anime. And then I'm rocking the Cartoon Network box logo, the Dexter's Lab. You got like Dee Dee right here flying up in the little boots right there. And then you have Dexter in his robo suit. I'm a huge Dexter collector. And I really like the simplicity of the box logos. It's just like the complete opposite of like, I have AOPs in my collection. I have crazy t-shirts, but this is like in my opinion, like a timeless design, something small.
Yeah, those box logos, I hear people asking for them more and more. I feel like that's like something that's kind of niche for your guys' life, because I haven't seen those ran too much on my virtual fleet. But how do you get those a lot on the people's fleet?
So we get them more than like you would think, but not they still don't come out a lot because people keep them. Like they just do not want to sell them, and they are actually hard to find. I've been hunting for them for years now, and like I'm so close to completing the set. There's about 9 indirectly, but 8 in the set, and I'm trying to complete them all. I have 6, so I'm close.
And what's the highest one's gone for on your show? Because I know I've heard them fetch crazy numbers, right? Like 8, 9.
Yeah. So certain ones will fetch. Yeah. 8, 9. More like the Space Ghost one I've seen hit for 5, 6.
What was that one that sold? It sold for like one point something.
Well,
which one was that?
Well, okay. So this one here, the Dexter, this one's my large. This one in an XL sold for 2,300.
Oh.
2,300. Courage, no one wants to bring that one out, but everyone's asking 3 racks on it plus. And there's not a lot of people, like it's less than a handful of people who have it, and they all agree, nope, nothing less than 3,000. So it's like that's the market right there. You know what I mean? Because you gotta get it from one of those guys. And which I have one, but I'm never selling it. And then you have stuff like the Ed and Eddie. That one rocked. That one in a small size, like a medium, sold for 1,000. And a medium, like mind blown, right?
It sounds like we're talking in 2020 right now, but these are all recent sales, huh?
Yes, yeah. These are all recent. Like the thing is, like I said, people do not bring them out, and then when they do, it's just everyone's ready. Everyone's ready to buy them.
I think for this one, and this was a while back. Was this like last year? We bought mine, and it's like a size small, maybe for like 300, and that was
That was a good deal, though.
Yeah, that was really
for yours. I mean,
but it's a tiny one. It's like small.
It is a small.
Because I can wear youth sizes. Like it's probably smaller than a youth XL.
Yeah, we got that from Roger Thunderduck. He was the only other person who had. I mean, that's still there's one other that popped up. So there's two discovered in the community on that shirt. And then when it comes to this, it's me and Protect Farm, and then I think one other guy in Cali. His name. One other guy in Cali. So there's three. And then so it's just one of those. So yeah, like I said, they just don't pop up. And when they do, it's like people know what they are, especially because they've seen them on like their favorite vintage pages, pages posted, and they see people wearing them and they're like, hey, I want one. And then people hear the price and they're like, damn. And then people see them on the flea, and it just it reaffirms, like when people see it, they're like, no fucking way. Did that really just hit for a K? And they're like, yeah, and it hits like that every single time because they very seldomly come out. Yeah. It's crazy.
And Haley, what's the value on yours? I hope it's not rude to ask, but I just don't know much about anime tees and your guys' niche. So I'm curious. What is that one again, and how much does it go for, if you don't mind sharing?
So this is Totoro. It's an anime. Studio Ghibli is the creators of it, Hayao Miyazaki. But
essentially like Japan's Disney.
Yeah, basically they're Disney. And mine is a smaller size, obviously, but I think people sell them for around like 1.3 was the
large shit. So we like to base our prices.
Let me turn my Chicago Bulls rap tee inside out. This is ridiculous. Jeez,
are you earning
big money today?
No. So obviously with the smaller sizes, you can get them for cheaper. Like, sometimes you can catch them for, like you said, like with this one, highest sold in XL. Remember, XL being the biggest, most desired because it's an XL, 2,300. But that's our highest recorded sale of one of these on my life. And then with this, it's like for the larger XL, you're looking at like 1,000 to maybe 1,300. But you can get lucky and catch them for 8 every once in a while, or if if you really like, someone throws it in the auction and not everyone's there, you never know.
There's 2 Totoro shirts. Well, there's a few Totoro shirts, but of the Grail Totoros, this is one of them. And then there's a black one on a Euro Screen Stars ISO. Guys, please hit me up if you find one in a medium or large. But yeah, so
there's 2 really. Yeah, 2 really. I mean, then there's the other ones, Japanese promotions and stuff like that.
Which I have that one too. It's nice. It's a basic, small graphic.
But this is like produced in the US and all that. So, definitely a sick one.
Yeah.
So crazy. All right. So question for you. Why do you think it is that in a time right now where like a lot of people are saying, oh, vintage is down, and a lot of prices are down compared to what they were like 2020, at least in my experience, how are you guys still running shirts for 1, 2K, asking 3K? How is that happening in your guys?
So the anime market is crazy. And it's not only because we mainly deal in you can run anything on the People's Fleet, but the categories that are going to hit the hardest are 100% going to be anime, video game, cartoon, Disney. It'll be a mix of all of anything that's pretty much animated and cartoonish. And that stuff right now is heavily popping off with rappers, with celebrities, with kids, the youth. You go to Hot Topic, you go to the mall, it's just anime city everywhere. Everyone wants anime. So with that being said,
I'm thinking of Lil Uzi's car. He got it wrapped with like anime characters on it. A lot of rappers are talking about my favorite anime is this.
It's hopping because when we first started doing the lives and all that and the flea, the anime market was not it wasn't certain pieces like Akira's and old anime like Ghost in the Shell and like the green AOPs were popping. Those would be like racks and sell for a lot, but none of the stuff that is hitting now was hitting like that hard before. It was like, oh, it'd sell for 200, oh, it'd sell for 100, and it's like, well, that's crazy. But now that stuff that was hitting for 100 to 200 is continually going up, and that's because with certain anime pieces, they're extremely sought after. I think it's the supply and demand factor. There's just so many especially with the youth coming into vintage and the new people coming into vintage, the supply is so high, but the demand is so high, but the supply is so low, because a lot of these pieces, people want their first Akira, they want their first Ghost in the Shell, they want their first, Dexter's Lab, they want all these pieces, and the people who have,
you guys kind of showed up late, like that. Those pieces have been bought, sold, and traded. So
yes,
when they pop up now,
Yes,
and I think that like definitely it's become a little bit more mainstream. Like it's cool to be nerdy now. It's cool to like anime and like video games, which like back in our day, like
you get beat up or you get made fun of or things like that. You had to fight if you liked that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like anime or and stuff like that. But now that culture, it's
now
like
it's all paying off. All those getting beat up and getting jumped. It's starting to pay off.
We're in our prime.
Well, and think about it. All of those people who were really nerdy back in the day, those are all like our software developers. Those are all of our, a lot of those people are very successful now.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people will say, like, a lot of big companies, they chase after the younger, there's that age group, that demographic that is spending all their money not on like responsible adult things, not to make it sound bad, but they're spending on things that make them happy and they're just having fun. That's the demographic that all these big companies try to go for, and that's what this kind of appeals to.
And that's exactly it. So a lot of our viewers, with the People's Flea, is we have a lot of the youth market. The youth market, not only the youth, but we have the teens and up until 20s, and then we have I would say we do have old, people in their 30s and 40s also, who are diehard anime and video game and all those fans. But a majority of our market is the youth. We have 15, 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, some of our vendors, some of our vendors are 18, 19, a decent amount of them, and I always take surveys when I'm in live, and I'm just like, everybody drop your age in the chat. I'm just curious, blah, blah, blah. Because sometimes, a t-shirt will come out and I just feel super old because I'm like, whoa, how's no one running this up? This is a freaking Coneheads. No one knows about this. And I'm just like, am I the only one? I'm like, Wayne's World, you guys don't know? And then they're just like,
dude, I'm going to do that on my next live too. I'm going to do an age survey because but that stuff's just too old now. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So like the relevancy for it is like, damn, because to me, it's like, I'm like, yeah, that's a grail. That's a banger still. But like, it's one of those things where, I'm just seeing, like, especially with the younger generation, they're very, very heavily into anime, cartoon shows now, things that are streamed on Netflix. And it's just crazy to think because a lot of people are like, oh, that you guys don't only have 20-year-old shirts run on your live. I'm like, no, sometimes we have 2010 shirts, 2013 shirts run on our lives.
That's why in my bio on Instagram, in my bio, it says vintage and rare t-shirt enthusiast, because it doesn't have to be vintage. It can just be rare, something that you can't just go to the store and buy or
the thing, some people don't understand. Some people don't understand like that a shirt can be made in 2010, but only be like an event tee, like where you had to be at the event, and like they don't realize that can still be a rare tee even if it's from 2010. But also another thing I tried
example too.
Facts. John Wick, exactly. Like people someone will pull out a John Wick tee and they'll be like, hey, I'm asking 400, or hey, I'm asking 300. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. That's a freaking John Wick tee, bro. Like,
no, John Wick has gone on my live a couple times for $700 to $800, and people right away start shitting themselves. And I say, look, this is not a shirt that was sold in stores. This is promo, so it's hard to get your hands on it. The impact of the badass movie. Try to go get this shirt somewhere else. You can't. This is the only time you can get it. It's for sale here.
Yeah.
Is it also that when all these shirts, vintage or not, were made, like that anime represented kind of like a subculture? So it wasn't mass produced or it wasn't mainstream. Now that it's kind of becoming mainstream, that's what you were saying. Is like the demand is kind of just off.
Yeah. So I think that no matter what, like even if anime and like our genres weren't to become mainstreamed, it would still go really well, as it always has, because there's such a crazy culture surrounded by it, and it's been that way for years. But yeah, it's definitely went up because of, how mainstream
it's becoming more mainstream. And that means even the things that people didn't know about, like the subgenres and the very, very niche stuff like hentai and, like all the crazy stuff, like is now people are trying to get that stuff. And that stuff was already like extremely rare, when you're looking at that type of stuff. So it's just one of those things. And a big thing I like to say, like I like to put in perspective for people too, is when they're really thinking about like 2010 or 2011 shirts or 2005 shirts is, for our viewers anyway, nostalgia for someone who's 20 years old is 2010. Like put that in the perspective, like nostalgia for someone who's 20 years old is 2010. That was 10 years ago that they were 10 years old.
I feel so left out, man, because I never really got into anime. But I always, a few years ago, even before 2020, even before I was hosting lives, I was like, I think the next big thing for this year, because I saw like a bunch of hypes, and you've been in the game as long as I have, so you've seen them too. You saw nature teas go up really crazy. Art teas go up. People say art is going to happen, or that it's happening now, but art was really big. You remember before 2020, it was like 17 or 18. I forgot what year that was. But year, I think it was 2019 or 20 that I was like, ooh, anime is going to be that next big thing because they have really cool graphics. But that kind of scared me because I was like, damn, I don't know anything about anime. I won't even know what shirts are valuable or not. One of my favorite memories, though, is this one day I was on a blind bid session with you, Ev, and I think it was Heat Broker. And the person dropped
that was legendary. We were on for like 7 hours or 8 hours.
We were on for 2 hours. And somebody dropped a blind bid, and pretty much it was like not for me because they asked for like anime only, size medium or something like that. And I was like, damn,
dude, you pulled out a fucking grail though.
Dude, so I just ran to the back to the garage. I was like, because I would just pick up things, sure enough. And I pulled out Death Note all over print. Everybody in the live was like, what? It felt like I pulled a Hail Mary on the blind bid. Yeah, that was
he did that, and I was tripping out because I was like, Chris, what the hell? Like, I was not expecting him to pull that out. He's just like, 1 second. And then I was just like, all right, he went.
Just nonchalant.
No. And he legit pulled it out, and everybody in the chat was just, the comments were just like, like they were just like, what the fuck? That's the one. I need that. ISO. And Chris was just like, oh, this thing. Like, I was just like, bro, what? You low-key just have like one of the best Death Note shirts like in existence. And he's just like, yeah. And the guy took it.
Of course he did.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
Bro, no, that was it, bro. I remember that moment. Everyone like in the anime community was just like, "Oh, Chris, man, that's
so cool."
Even me, I was just like, that just like he just pulled that out of nowhere. I was like, no way.
I did that a couple times on that blind bid session. People would ask for things that they kind of just knew, and even in the chat, I think some people were like, "Chris is out," and I was like, I would pull out just kind of a Hail Mary piece. I don't know how I did, dude. That was a legendary moment.
He's like, what'd you say? I love that live. I still have that live saved, and watching that live, every once in a while I'll go back to watch that. I'm just like, holy crap, that was like legit a legendary night.
Post some like little clips.
I would love to put that on YouTube, something. That was a crazy. It was just we were just going in.
It's really cool to see anime tees now, like what I predicted they would have, or like I hope they would have back a few years ago, now getting that, and because of you. How do you feel about that? Like how is it for you running these lives and having this attention on you? That's got to be something new. It's got to be something different. It's got to take some getting used to. What's that like for you, the position that you're in? How do you perceive it?
Man, dude, it's because it wasn't like a plan of mine or anything. It was just more of a thing that happened, and then it just started becoming bigger and bigger, and I was just like, whoa, what's happening? Like, people are starting to actually put respect on this stuff. And it was really cool because I was like, oh, I love this stuff. This is the stuff that I collect, and like the stuff that I've been like. So it was it's really cool. It's very it's humbling. It's one of those things where it's like, damn, you guys are looking to me to be that guy. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Just there's this character in Dragon Ball Z. His name's Goku. And I'm like, and people are like, hey man, you're the Goku in this anime. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to rise up to the occasion. So I feel like the people in the chat and everyone who supports the Flea, they hype me up to where I'm able to just be like, it's like I feel empowered. Like there's this thing in the Dragon Ball Z called the sensu bean, and you chew it, you eat it, and you just get super strong and revitalized. I feel like that's what the people do to me, right? And so it's like one of those things where I'm living up to it, but the support of the people is really helping it out. But it's nuts, it's weird, it's crazy.
And living up to it, rising up to that responsibility, what does that consist of for you?
Oh man, that means like fully being invested not only in like bringing people entertainment on the lives, solid pieces, authentic pieces, painting the picture for people who've never seen an anime, just so I can plant the seed and get them to watch a certain anime or maybe even dive into it, because we have a lot of people who've never seen anime before or played a certain game before, and they're like, hey man, I'm 30 and I'm just now getting into it. Any recommendations? So I love that, but also helping people in the background, because there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that us live hosts, including Chris and everybody in the game, does in the background, and that's helping out with cases and helping out with people with disputes and dry rot teas and just everything, all the whole mix, scammers, all this stuff. So and then on top of that, it's just giving quality information to people, quality information to where people can learn. And I feel like especially if you have that knowledge, it's and you're in a position like me, Chris, all of us are, it's one of those things where it's like our job to kind of inform the people and, use our platform to spread information.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that answer? That's a great answer, man. You could tell by the way that he answered that, he's passionate about what he's doing. Because I think one of the most important things for me anyway, when I was hosting lives, is getting the people's trust. Because at the end of the day, who are you? Why should we trust you with these transactions? Our money on the line, we're putting up big money, And, I used to get a lot of shit in the beginning when I first started, because they would say that, who are you? Why should we trust you? Like, they would always try to call me out on things. I was like, look, for right now, there's really no way for us to do this other than for you to just trust me. And with time, you guys will see that you can trust me because I really care about this thing. Like, I'm doing this not because I'm doing this because I like to, not because I have to, in the beginning. Yeah. And I think that's one of the most important things, is being able to have a host that you can trust. So that answer was perfect, at least for me anyway. But let's go back to the beginning and how we even got here. So 2015, 2016, Haley, you're going in his closet. You're like, this dude has more clothes than me. When did it go from collecting to selling?
For Henry or for me?
For both of you guys.
Or like,
because you guys are a whole own business now.
Yeah, you're good. I like it when you tell the story because you have the outside perspective. Me, I'm just like go. To me, it was
sometimes he's like, oh yeah, that's true.
I like hearing your perspective.
Well, yeah, I mean, just like what he said, he always was kind of flipping things and selling, and meeting his family, especially his mom, it makes sense because his mom's a hustler.
Yeah, she is.
She is straight up hustler. So he definitely took that from moms. And so that was something that was just natural to him. And the one thing that Henry and I always said, because we're both very passionate, driven people, we're very talented, both very talented, have a really great work ethics. We always knew that we were going to own a business together and be financially free and change the legacy for our future generations. That was our goal. And we both had that vision, but we didn't know what our business was going to be. I like to cook.
We tried so many things.
So we had catering business. Mm-hmm. We did a bunch of different
things. Online websites. I've had so many online websites. Yeah.
We dabbled in all these things. Meanwhile, he's still flipping things on the side.
Oh yeah.
And we're just not even thinking that that's like a potential thing. Even
it's just normal for us. It's like, oh, we want to go on a trip. How about I'll just flip some stuff. I'll buy some stuff.
Let me buy this $200 thing and sell it for $1,000 kind of thing. You know, it's a little insane.
I was flipping cars at the time too, and it was funding trips that we were going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you keep going.
So, we're just kind of going through the motions. And then one day he comes to me and he says, there's this YouTuber I've been watching. He does like Amazon selling where he sells books. Like, I really want to go see him. Can we drive to Seattle? I'm like, sure, let's do it. I drop him off. I go get my donuts and coffee. And then I come pick him up, and he's like a changed man. He's a changed person. He's like, this is what I'm doing. I have to do this.
I got mentorship. Yeah.
He got mentorship. And then this was the start of Final Flame. I would say this is like the very start of when it all happened, because it started with books, and it was called Book Pros. And
that was my first company. Book Pros.
He pitched it to me, and he said, I think that this could really turn into something. Can I start taking some time off from my 9 to 5? And you like hold it down in your job, because we could totally, live off of just my income. At that time, I was making pretty okay money. And I said, let's do it. If it's something that you believe in, then I trust you. And he slowly started to take off more and more days as he replaced his income. Once he fully replaced his income off of, was it just Amazon?
It was just Amazon. I didn't want to sell my vintage yet, but my one of my buddies, he was selling on eBay, and his name's RJ, and he's like, bro, you should sell some of your vintage. I'm just like, dude, I've had this since I was like 50. I've had this for like 10 plus years. Like, I don't know if I want to sell any of it. It's just like, bro, try it out. It's good money. And I was just like, I've sold a little bit of it, traded a little bit of it, but like, as far as like selling it, like all of my vintage. So I did it. And I still have a couple pieces from that time. But at this point, it was like, hey, you're trying to get out of the 9 to 5. You're trying to build a business, make the sacrifice, sell all your stuff. So I not only sold all my vintage clothing, but yeah, it was the Amazon thing, which got me out of the 9 to 5, built that up. And I started taking profits from that and then putting it more into vintage. So it was one of those things where, first off, I sold all my stuff from my vintage collection, sold all my video games, sold all my sneakers. I had nothing. I wore the same t-shirt every day, the same pants every day, the same shoes every day. Like, just, I had nothing. That's part of how we built the business, because I remember when at that time I was just working every day, and I was trying to transition out of my 9 to 5. I made enough from Amazon, which I was selling books, and I was selling books I got from thrift stores. So I'd scan them and buy them from Goodwill for $1, and then flip them for like $80, $100, because they would be like college textbooks and things like that. And then I just got it to where I could work, start giving up days at my 9 to 5. And then eventually towards the end of that year, because I started that summer, and then towards the end of the year, I quit my job finally. And at that point, that was when I was like, hey, we need more income. So I did Amazon, and then Amazon replaced my income. And then I needed something for me to really, really enjoy what I was doing. So that was when when I started selling vintage on eBay.
Do you sell any books these days?
No, not anymore. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was really fun, and the profits were really good. I actually got linked up. The guy she was talking about in Seattle, his name's Reezy Resells. He's a guy from YouTube that I met in Seattle, and he linked me up with this guy, Miggity Mike. That's what they call him.
Oh yeah.
But Mike,
Miggity Mike.
Miggity Mike. He's cool. He linked me up with him. I got close with him. He gave me a lot of knowledge. He does it in warehouse. He has like a warehouse, and he does it on a big scale, forklifts and all these books. He buys bulk from Goodwill, all that stuff. Yeah, he does it on a bigger scale. So I got game from him and learned a lot. And yeah, that got me to where I was just killing it on Amazon, making pretty good money at the time. But it got to the point where it was like, man, am I really passionate about this? Do I really love this? Or did I just do this because I was trying to get out of my 9 to 5? So it went from digging myself out of the 9 to 5 now to digging myself out of my own business that I created. And it was one of those things where I was like, I want to sell something I really love. And I was already selling vintage on the side. But it was so hard for me because it was my personal. So I was just like selling all my personals, and I was making decent money from doing that.
He was on the Amazon game, and then he started to sell vintage, or he started to source the vintage and sell vintage.
Oh, vintage was how we got you to quit your job.
Exactly. So
Amazon got me to quit my job.
When he was doing the Amazon the book thing, and then I was always trying to help him on my days off, because I still worked. I'm a hula dancer also on the side of everything else that I do. And I always have done that. So when I was working my 9 to 5, then a lot of times I had like practice, or performances. And then so any free time that I had, then I was helping him scan books at Goodwill or things like that. And then when it turned into vintage, then he started to just go to thrift stores, the bins, and he'd come home with just like ginormous, garbage bags. And then I'm over here sifting through, seeing what I like, getting first dibs. And then it created this spark. For him, of course, it's something that he already loved, but also for me too, it was fun. And it was something fun that we would do together, not only on his work days that he would have to get done his quotas and all of that, but also on our free time. We would just go to thrift stores, we would go to garage sales,
estate sales. Yeah,
that was the click. But obviously, we still had to flip anything that would make money.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I'm just buying anime tees. No, it was if it
you had to work your way to
sell it. That was my life. Yeah. It wasn't like what I'm doing now and what we're doing now is a complete dream. It was a complete dream. It's like what I wanted. This is what I aspired to do eventually if I could get there. And so very, very humbling to be here.
At all?
Oh, like where we're at now?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. This wasn't even like, that. I feel like what we're doing now would have been me like if I would have dreamed of doing that, that would have been like me just like that would have been a dream, like a literal dream. Like, oh, I would love to do that if I could get to that point. But I never. I feel like getting to this point, I kind of just got here. It was like one of those things where talking about it makes me realize it, but being so busy makes me I'm living it, I'm doing it every day. So it's like sometimes it's easy to forget that you're here already and that you're there and you're doing
it.
Yeah,
it hits me like a ton of bricks sometimes too, because I just set out a lot of your story reminds me of my story. Like I always thrifted, but I never saw it as a way of that I could support myself.
Yeah, I never did.
Yeah, until one day I tried it, and when I started doing reselling full time, I definitely never imagined that I would be a live host or someone that's pursuing brand deals and partnerships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here we are, and it's kind of crazy how what I see as a similarity between you and I is you guys just adapt, and you're also not that you have no fear, because you do got to have a certain amount of fear to be able to do things right.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're just crazy. But you guys are also taking the calculated risks to do to ultimately be happy, which is my same driving factor.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it, because I feel like a lot of friends and a lot of family think that we're insane. We were insane
back then. Now they're like, oh snap, you guys are killing it. You guys are doing the dream.
I was renting out. I was in my mom's house. Like I was paying rent out of my mom. She was already married and lived with her husband. But I remember one time she came over and saw all my racks all throughout the house, just shirts hung up on racks. And she's like, this is no way to live. And pretty much said, you got to get rid of this and get a real job. She was already nervous when I told her I quit my job and I'm doing this. She's like, okay, nah, this is crazy. You better have my rent. And I was like, yeah, cool. No, I got you. But then once she saw the racks, even though everything was okay on the payment side, she was like, you got to go. Like the family was just not supportive of me, and that went throughout the whole family. They were like, Chris, you're crazy. Now, like you said, it is a different story. And doesn't that make you proud? Isn't it like a good aha?
Oh yeah,
moment?
Yeah. It's like back then. What was that? What's that song? They didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all want me. It's one of those things. It's crazy because friends and family thought it was weird, but like we always had one big factor, one big pillar on our side, and that was my father. My father always supported everything I was doing, everything we were doing. Dude, he was like, get the racks. He was like, man, this is so cool, Henry.
He's like, let's turn the living room into you guys'
workspace. Yeah, he was like full in, like no matter how weird everyone else thought it was. My dad was just like. He's always been supportive like that. Anything I wanted to do ever since I was young, he's always been like, yes. It was never no, or that sucks or things like that. Other people did, were like, negative in that way. But my dad was always like, yeah, do it. Try it. Oh yeah, you hate it now? Don't do it anymore. New thing? Yeah, do it. And then with the business, he was just like, man, this is freaking cool. He just thought but the thing is like, it's different for me because like my parents both like, both my mom and dad, they both like, that's how we grew up love thrifting, buying stuff. And my dad to this day still thrifts. He goes to the thrift store all the time.
He'll come bring us his finds and be like, you guys could probably sell it.
Yeah. My dad went to the bins with us recently. We went to the bins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You ever found you something crazy?
He found some fishing stuff because my dad's big into fishing, but it was vintage fishing stuff that he found. And he was like, yeah, this is from the 1950s, Henry. Check this out. And, me and her looking for clothes, maybe some video games. But it's one of those things where I would say that does play a big role in like us and our success and where we're at right now, because we had him in our ring corner, just like helping us the whole time and being positive. And, so he always had our back in that. And that was a big thing, because even though everyone thought we were weird and like, what are you doing? Are you just gonna scrounge and scavenge stuff the whole time and do this? And he was just like, man, this is cool, man. Like you have an opportunity right now, especially with the internet and all that. Take advantage of it.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah. Shout out, Pops. All right, so you're doing your thing. You're experiencing financial freedom, and tell me how the hosting of the lives happened,
bro. I mean, the hosting of the lives on IG. I remember just even the thought of it. I never saw Instagram lives as a thing to like go on live and sell. Like it wasn't even a thought in my head. It was more so like when I first went live on Instagram, it was just to talk. Like it was like talking with my friend. And me and my homie and Haley and his wife, Finalflamevintage, that was the first time I ever went live, and this was a long time ago, and we just went on live specifically just to, it was almost like podcast type thing, and it wasn't like, oh, you're gonna sell and run a flea from it. That was not even an idea for me. That was not even an idea. So it was one of those things where we were on live, talking and showing off things, and we would be like, hey, what'd you find today at the bins, or show off your thrift finds, and we were just doing that. And then I remember someone like, hey, I want that, like, are you selling that? And I'm like, yeah, hit me in the DMs. Hit me in the DMs, because we were selling a little bit from Instagram, but it wasn't like our main sources, mainly eBay and stuff like that. And I remember he bought a shirt off of the live, and that was the first time I ever sold anything on the live. And I was just like, I was like, that's something. And then I remember just like looking for lives, but Instagram didn't really have a way to find lives unless, it wasn't like there was just like scroll through all these lives and look. So I was just like, I wonder if anyone's doing this. And then I remember finding your page, and I remember seeing that you were doing the virtual flea, and I was just like, no freaking way. I was like, people are doing this. And I remember at first you were just doing it to help out people during the pandemic, I believe. And it was like one of those things where people would come on and, like everything was all shut down. The stores were shut down, and they were just selling and like showing things. And I was just like, holy crap, that looks cool. And then, and I was just like, like, man, that's cool. He's a big page though. I remember, because at the time you might've been like 40, 50,000 followers or something already. And I was just like, man, he's a big page. He's like, so I don't know if I could do that, but I was like, I can go live and try. And I remember at the time I was like what were we, like less than 1,000 followers when we started going live. So it was one of those things where I was just like, I was like, I was very confident in my eBay skills, and because we were making really good money on eBay, and Poshmark and all the platforms. But at Instagram was like we were just baby fish. But I was just like, one thing that gave me the strength of gave me the perseverance to know, or the confidence was like, I was like, we've been in the game for a while. We have good stuff. I was like, so we only have 5 viewers, 10 viewers, but like at least it's going to be quality stuff that they see, and then eventually it'll grow. So fast forward, got inspired definitely from your virtual flea. Got inspired definitely from that moment I sold my first thing on a live, where I was just like, whoa, someone bought something, and they hit me in the DMs and actually paid for it. Those are two kind of like pivotal things. And then I remember also Ev, I remember Ev going live, and Ev was working at Panera Bread at the time, and Ev was just another small account just like us. And I remember Ev showing off teas, and he was like trying to do the virtual fleet thing. He was showing off teas, but it was just by himself. It was by himself. And he's like, hey, I got this. If anybody wants it, $20, I got this, $15, and people were buying it. And I remember seeing him do that. And I was just like, okay, so I already got, these are all like signs to me. I was like, all right, sold my first t-shirt on a live that I didn't even think about selling on a live. Saw Chris's virtual flea. And then I already had the idea of doing my own live and doing it. And then I saw Evan. I found someone because I was hunting for lives. And then I found Evan and he was already doing it. He had 5-10 viewers and he was just like, yeah, I got this. And he was actually selling stuff with 5-10 viewers. And then I was just like, all right, let's do this. So I started going live and I told her I'm going to go live because she was like, hold down the business, babe, with the eBay and our employee and all that. I'm going to go live every single day. And I did. Yeah. I went live every single day to build up my live following. And it was hard. But I was an underdog. I had no followers. I was just like, I'm going to try to build this up through, entertainment. So I was always trying to be entertaining while I was on the live because I was like, I have to do something where people can talk about it and tell their friends. So I was like always trying to be entertaining, funny, but also like bring out as much heat as I could. And at the time we had a 3,000 inventory eBay store. So I had stuff. It was a matter of just showing it to people. So we were just pulling it out. And then I remember getting into collaborations with other smaller accounts like, hey, hop on with me. Me and Philo rocked it hard for a hot minute after he did his live with
I had the pleasure of watching those lives. You and Philo, you going live every night. It was dope. Yeah. It was dope to watch. And I feel like a lot of people kind of want to start a live show. People will hit me up all the time like, yo, I'm going to start this live. Kind of they'll hit me up for different reasons. One of them being like, yo, I'm going to go live on this night that you go live too. I hope, it's not like almost like a not no beef thing. I'm like, dude, go live. Everybody go live. Everybody do what they want to do. Early on when I was doing the lives, and I've said this a lot of times here on the podcast too, like, I knew that this is too good. I was like, everybody's going to do this. And because it's too damn easy and it's too damn fun. You know what I'm saying? And
fun.
So I would watch I see a lot of these guys start like you going live every day, picking up steam, and they always tend to stop right when they're like, getting the most momentum. And I see it and I'm just like, all right, well, life happens and I understand that, but a part of me is like, dude, you could have kept going, but maybe that's not your goal. Maybe, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't, it's not up to me or to get involved, but I did see you stay consistent and do your thing. And, now you got the collective People's Flea. So what were you going to say? My bad. Go ahead.
No, it's exactly what you're saying because there's so many people in the game where I'm like, you just persevere, just keep doing it. Because the thing is with me, I was going to do it every day, no matter what. And I was gonna make it into something because that was in my head. I already told my team, I was like, I'm gonna make something of this because I wasn't just doing it for myself. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do it for you guys. I'm gonna do it for the squad. I'm gonna do it for my wife. I'm gonna do it to pay the bills too. And it was one of those things where I was like, I had we were already doing this full time. So it wasn't like I was transitioning into vintage. Like we were already doing vintage full time for years. So it was one of those things where it's like, this is the next step, in my opinion. This is the next step when it comes to the game, is build up that social media presence, build up the lives. And, I still to this day feel like the future of shopping is within lives. When it comes to vintage clothing and things like, collectibles and expensive items that are rare and stuff like that. So it was one of those things where, it was hard. We would sit there with 10, 20 viewers. We'd sell $100+ tees for $20. And it was one of those things where we just kept doing it. But we were buying our stuff from the bins. So we were still making money. It's just, we were not making as much money as we could, but word spreads fast when you're selling $100 tees for $20. So, word spreads fast. So that helped us grow. But I saw it as an investment. I remember when Philo first made his first live appearance. I was scouting at the moment, looking for people to collab with, and I remember Philo ran ran a shirt. It was like a Silver Surfer on with Wiz, and it was his first live ever, and everyone loved Philo and his personality. And I was like, that's the guy. I want him to come live with me. So I hit him up immediately after his live. I was like, hey, what's up, man?
That move to make People's Flea a multi-host program was to get smaller accounts to band together to build that audience that they couldn't get on.
Exactly. Because I was like, the virtual flea is like, you know, you're a big account, and we were just like, holy crap, to ever get to that point is nuts. So we were like, hey, you know, so it was one of those things where I started the People's Flea by myself, and I remember hosting it, and I was just alone, and I did it. I remember the first flea was called Final Flame Sunday Flea or something, and I did it for.
We didn't come up with a name yet.
No, we let the people vote on the name. We let the people vote, and I remember doing it, and I pitched it to Philo to see if he wanted to be a host on the People's Flea, and I remember he was just like, "Nah, bro, I don't know if that'll work." He's like, "We're such small accounts, like you really think it'll be good?" I'm like, "Dude, we're already getting like 20, 30 viewers. Let's come on, you know, like come on, look at us, bro. We're us together when we sell, like we're just doing this, man. We have 20, 30 viewers."
But also the thing is that there was already a demand for the service there. Because people would already be hitting us up in the DMs all the time, like, "Henry, can I go on live with you? I just have a couple teas that I want to run," stuff like that. So people already were watching Henry and Philo, their Banger Wednesdays, and they're just like, "Dude, those are the people I want to be live with. Like, they're super cool, love the vibes." And so the demand was there, you know, but Henry had the vision, and he was riding the wave that was already coming our way. And I feel like
because the thing is, I wasn't planning on being a live host. I was just like, hey, I just want to sell with me and Philo, or I want to just sell with me and Ev. I started collaborating. Like I said, I was scouting out talent. To collab with, but so we could grow together. We were the underdogs. We were the small accounts, right? We were the small accounts. So for us to achieve, you know, greatness, it was better to do it together, you know? And it was one of those things where I remember when, like you said, it was just people hitting us up. It was just me and Phil. They're like, "Hey, can I come on your live and host, and you host me?" And I was just like, dang, I kind of have to, like, I have a lot of work and stuff to do. They're like, "I'll pay you." And I'm just like, wait, what? And that's when it started to click in my head. It was like, well, when people started asking me to come on and then asking me to pay, because I was like, I can't just dedicate I have a business to run. I can't just dedicate the time to it. But when people started saying, "I'll pay you," I was like, oh, well, I guess that could be something, right?
A lot of people just hit up the DMs and be like, "How much do you guys charge?"
Yeah, they assumed that.
I believe it, man. It was a crazy demand because you remember when I was doing virtual flea for a minute, like the first year, we had to do raffles.
We had
to do raffles for vendors. There was no way I was going to be able to meet the demand.
No.
The next episode of the podcast is going to be dropped. I'm going to drop it tomorrow. It's with QuietWorks, he does the website for virtual flea, and we were talking about it, dude. We would have like 400, 500 entries, people signing up to be on the virtual flea. There was no way I was going to get through it. There was no way, because I think every weekend we would get through about 20 vendors, and you know, and
it was too many.
And then in a month, that means 80 vendors. So we were not even touching a quarter of the demand that we had for.
No, and that's the thing. Like he said, they were doing raffles and stuff. I saw that too, and I was just like, how the hell? Chris would have to go live every single day, his entire day, and still have people that
you wouldn't get to.
At the time, that wasn't a thing for me, because I was still like, I hadn't made the decision. I'm only going to do virtual flea full time. That didn't happen until August of 2020. So it took me about 5 months to get to that decision. And that was because
it's a big decision.
Yeah, the flea market had hit me up. They were like, "We're open again, so if you want to come back and sell." And like my first thought was like, "Yeah, let's go back, get back to live." But then I was like, "Wait, I have a really amazing thing that I'm doing here with these lives, and you know, it's changing people's lives." And it took me a whole week. And then after that whole week, they finally called me. They were like, "Hey, we need your answer. Are you going to come in this Sunday or not?" I was like, "Look, I'm not going to go." And I made the decision. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but that Sunday was when we sold the genie for $6,000.
Jeez. Perfect.
Like how poetic is that? That Sunday, I was supposed to be back at the flea market. I didn't go, and then he broker came on and sold the genie.
That was meant to be.
But
start mind right there.
But yeah, I didn't know that it was going to be something that I was going to do, and that demand was crazy. But it's great to see now all these lives coming in, and all these different hosts. You guys have an amazing show, one of the best shows for sure.
Thank you, bro.
And now you have an app that you say that you want. What does the app do? How is that furthering what the People's Flea does?
So I think so with the app. So it's called Exchange. It is right now we're in beta. We're totally bootstrapped from the ground up. We're doing it all just with the founding members that we have now. This is all just us testing. We have a developer on team, which is dope. He's one of the co-founders. So any new updates we're able to do, or we want get done like promptly. But also it's one of those things where we wanted something that was for the community, by the community. And, while all these other apps are doing their thing, we want it to be like just a hub and home for, everyone to come and congregate and not only sell, but trade and hang out, authenticate. We have some big plans and collaborations with other businesses that have reached out to us that want in. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool to see the evolution of what a team effort, has in store. It's going to be crazy. But also it's one of those places where when it's all said and done, if IG doesn't come with all the new updates. I mean, there is something that they sent, but if things don't get better with IG, it's one of those things where I just want the app in itself to be almost like how everyone when it comes to vintage, IG is kind of like that hub right now. I want Exchange to be that hub. I want Exchange to be that hub. I want there to be forums, places where people can talk, like the whole nine, news, vintage news on there. And we've talked to a few people about that, and we're getting linked up with some people, and we're doing it as a community. So it's one of those things, like just like the People's Flea. The People's Flea named the flea. The People's Flea is all about the people. I want. That's exactly what I want with this app. I want it to be
based. It's going to be built by our community.
It's going to be built by our community as a shared effort.
Since we have so much online, I was like, I wonder what's the next thing for People's Flea, and that's a reason why I work with the app that I'm working with, Pop Shop.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the next step is, at first it was creating a live, and we had this crazy demand where I had like 400, 500 people entering a raffle to hop on my live. Now there's all these different lives that people can get hosted on. And I was like, what's the next step? And I think the next step is going to be empowering people to go live on their own without a host.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's interesting to hear what your next take is going to be. It's just making it a space where it's more, and I think we're kind of in line here, like making a space where it's more efficient, more fun, and safe for us to continue doing what we're already doing.
Yes, correct. Because like for me, like one thing I love about IG in general, and the fact that we have most of our, a huge amount of our vintage community with all the knowledge and, background and experience, like as opposed to, some of the apps that sometimes when I see certain sellers come on, I'm able to just kind of differentiate. We have all the knowledge and experience on Instagram right now. And it's like putting these on these apps would be very helpful because, if someone pulls out a fake tee or someone pulls out something that's not, authentic, or they're selling it selling it wrong by saying, hey, this is from 1990 and this is a 2002 shirt. You have the community on IG who will be like, nah, bro, that's not true. This is this, that's made by the homie here, blah, blah, blah. But on some of the apps that I've noticed, because I just, I'm just out there, what is it? What do they call it? I'm just like watching in the background. I sometimes one thing that I do notice a discrepancy without having a host there, especially if someone's inexperienced, is the sales of unauthentic items, or some people trying to outright scam, which I've noticed on some of the apps that is becoming an issue, which kind of sucks. That's why that we're doing. Yeah.
That's a dangerous territory, if people are getting empowered to do their own lives. I guess they'll be shooting themselves in the foot if they're already selling fake items or not being trustworthy. Like we said earlier in the episode, that's one of the main components of being a live host or a live personality is trust. If you blow that, it's done. But speaking of keeping it safe, and one thing that we're lucky to have on Instagram is the Live Host United chat. If you want to tell the people what that is, that's how we keep it safe on IG, and I stand by that. Like that's why we're able to last this long, grow the community as big as
Yeah.
I think that the Live Hosts United group chat is a major key to that. So tell the people what that is.
So Live Hosts United group chat, guys, is essentially a chat with pretty much all of the live hosts in the community from different countries, not only the USA, but it could be Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, just all around the world. We're all in a chat. And anytime someone does something like scammy, someone flakes, someone does anything that, you know, is considered not good business within our community, it gets halted very, very fast with a simple message in that chat. We all it's almost like it's almost like a United Nations for vintage when it comes to the live community and Instagram community, and it's one of those things where we're very active in it. We've been, you know, it's like Chris said, it's one of those things that it's why we're lasting so long and being able to do this is because we're all different hosts with our own separate fleas and businesses, but we all work together as a union to keep the community safe in general. So it's not like
describe the vibe in the chat too, because I feel like for somebody listening to this, they might be like, oh, it sounds like a cool kids club. You know what I mean? What's the vibe of the Live Hosts United chat?
So it's not at all we're not in there like, hey, I just found this, hey, check this out. It's very work. It's work. When we're in that chat, it's all work. It's all work. We're putting time into working on cases, helping people out, mediating, giving our opinions on, giving our opinions on different outcomes that may happen and take place. But it's work. It's work.
It's a conference room.
Yeah, it's the conference room. We're there. We get stuff done and we leave. We're not like, hey, Chris, how was the barbecue yesterday? We're not doing any of that. We do that on our own.
Also, one of my favorite parts about the group chat is the checks and balances aspect of it, where like somebody will say this person did this, and another live host, me included, you included, are not afraid to say, okay, give me more info on this, give me more context on this.
Yeah.
We're not just gonna be like, block this person because you said, no. Like what happened? Okay, and then what did he say when you said that? And we really make sure that we have a definitive understanding of why someone should be restricted or blocked or
100%
flag being thrown on them.
And even with that, it's up to the discretion of the host. So it's one of those things where
it's not like everybody block this person now. It's like, here, this is what they did. I suggest you block this person.
Yeah.
And nobody has to confirm. You know what I'm saying? We're just
no one has to confirm. It's one of those things. Everyone, you're your own flea. We're just the union working together. It's not like, Henry said it, Chris said it. Now everyone has to block them. It's not one of those things. It's one of those things where we, even in that group, we take everything with a grain of salt. We make sure we get the full case file, like meaning like we need all the information for us to fully, because what if someone has a vendetta against someone? It's like one of those things. We're not going to just be like, well, we're not going to block them just because you don't like them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Tell you that one Cartoon Network tee back in 2021. Now you're getting your revenge by having.
I mean, they're like,
we check on
logos. Chris, let's block this dude.
And I think I'm proud that we stop a lot of people in their tracks, because there'll be people that. All right. So here's an example. So one time, a buyer flaked on an auction on someone's live. They reported it in the Live Hosts United chat. We all took action against that. Boom. Never heard from that person again. But there was another live host that wasn't in our chat because he's fairly new with his show, but now staying very consistent. He became a victim of that flaker. And I felt bad because I was like, man, why didn't I think to have this guy in here? We could have prevented that from happening, just like we prevented it from happening on all these other lives. So, and then of course, after that, we added him to the group chat. And so that to me is one of the examples of how effective that group chat is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because and then also like
that person would have gone off again.
Yes. Because sometimes we have information too that like someone will send and be like, oh yeah, I've had that guy blocked, or oh yeah, that guy's good. Let me hit him up. Like, so sometimes like someone will get submitted to the chat, guys, and we'll be like, hey, that guy, sometimes he's hard to get a hold of. Let me hit him up personally. Like maybe someone has a direct contact with him, and sometimes it can just get resolved. More so rather than playing, go to jail with everybody or blocking people. We're just mediating, trying to come to a resolution. We want everyone to have fun and enjoy the community and be safe. Not scam people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that I feel like a lot of people already know that this chat already exists.
I talk about it.
Yeah, Henry talks about it. He makes it well known that there's a chat, and there's consequences for your actions, guys. We're adults. But sometimes I feel like people feel daunted by that, and then say if I do hit them up to mediate for a case, they're like, some people get defensive or upset. But at the end of the day, don't feel offended. We are not taking sides with anybody. We're just literally a middleman to help you resolve an issue.
For sure.
So I don't want people to feel like because there's this all holy chat that nobody gets to see except for the host, that we're against everybody in any way, or certain people, or people think that maybe we side with the vendors all the time.
No.
It's not like that.
To branch off of that, we actually have had many cases where a vendor will file a case and we'll side with the buyer. That's happened many times where it's like, nah, dude, you're a vendor. You're obviously making a mistake here. And we use it more of a teaching tool than anything, right? It's a teaching tool, not only for our buyers, but for our sellers and a lot of our new sellers and our new buyers, because it's becoming so crazy big. It's just one of those things. But like at the end of the day, guys, we're not just playing politics in there. We're more of a, we're here to help you guys. We're serving the community.
And the more people in there, the more checks on each other and the more questions that are asked. We also do legit checks in there. I'm so proud of it, and I think it's a great way to keep and the reason I'm sharing the information about this live host chat is because Henry's the one who set it up. And I think it's a great point of pride for me. Like you said, it's something that keeps the community safe, and that's the reason why we have it. If it was for anything else, trust me, your boy right here wouldn't even be in it. I think, I'm not with the drama. I'm not with the drama and the bickering, and it's definitely not that. It's just straight up, straight work and making sure that we're furthering this community, advancing it in a safe and positive way at all times. And maybe people are like, why you guys? Who chose you? Well, it's just kind of the way that it happened. You know what I mean? It's not a situation where it's just a practical thing. We just here.
It's not like we chose to do it. We just kind of stepped up to the plate.
Like you said also too about being a live host. Like, I didn't ask to be here, but because we are here, now we have the responsibility. This is something you were saying earlier. It's only right there to step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to step up. We got to step up. Someone has to do it, guys, at the end of the day. And, you may not like all of us, but that's why we're doing it all together as a union, because we hold each other accountable also. So it's one of those things where it's not just like, you may not like this host, but it's cool. You like that host, and he's holding that host accountable. So it's like we're all in there helping each other. And like Chris said, I remember when I first hit Chris up about it, I was just like, hey, what do you think about this? And Chris was just like, dude, we need that. He's like, yeah. He's like, let's do it. He's like, that would help out. And I just remember, I didn't even think of it. I just remember, like, man, we really need something like this, because like we're all on our own islands right now as far as hosts. And I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, we don't have to like host together and be like the virtual Sabrut virtual people's flea can combine, but like we can at least help each other out, so our buyers and our vendors get a good experience, because that helps the community as a whole. Us all working.
And that's the main reason I share this about this group chat too, is to let you guys know that amongst many other things, this is how we keep the community safe, and that's how we've come this far as well.
We all work together.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's crazy.
Let's get into some fun questions. I mean, the whole thing's been fun, but we're winding down here, so I want to get into some of these fun. I definitely don't want to skip these. What's a tea that you think deserves more spotlight or should be ran up more? Or maybe it's a category.
Man,
I don't know, because for me, maybe I don't want it to be.
Go ahead.
You know me, like one of the areas that I collect that I feel like not a lot of people know about or care about is Sanrio.
Oh, Sanrio.
I've collected Sanrio for a long time now, and not a lot of love or respect gets put on it. I think more of recently, a lot more people have put a little bit more respect on it, but I used to collect, like as a kid, I collect like the stationery and stuff. So I nerd out hard over Sanrio characters.
It's like Hello Kitty and what are the characters?
Kuropi, Pachaco, like all of them, because I still have some of that stationery.
Be careful, he's gonna post this on YouTube.
Man. I used to have I would get some of those pieces. This was before pandemic when I was in the bins, and whenever I'd find them, I think the most like 150 to 300 is what I would sell each T-shirt for, because I was like, you never see these. These never pop up. Yeah. Who knows when they'll pop up again? They're not like most other tees, NASCAR tees especially, that pop up. So I charge up on those, but now I notice, they don't really they probably go for half that, maybe, but I think that I definitely more respect has to be sprinkled on.
And that came to my attention recently because like my dancers at my studio, they're a lot of that demographic that we sell to. And so I'll wear some of that stuff and then they know what Sanrio is. But the Sanrio characters that are here now, like Gugatama, which I also really love, but these are
like an egg.
It's like an egg, but yeah, they have different characters now. So when they see Sanrio on my t-shirt and they're like, oh, Sanrio, like Gugatama. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, do you know who Pachaco is? And they have no idea what I'm talking about. They think that they're like totally two unrelated things. And like even Mariah, she was wearing like Kuropi socks. And I was like, oh, Kuropi, who's your favorite Sanrio character? And she was like, what?
It's almost like the name.
We got too old.
Yeah, they need a revamp. Sometimes a show or a piece of content or a movie can just do wonders for something.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, here's another one. Have you ever hosted drunk or under the influence in any way?
I haven't. You probably have, maybe?
No, remember? Whoa. Exposed. No, but also before, like in the beginning, we used to make it fun where we would have like a bottle of wine and you'd be selling with Philo, and then I'd be like in the background.
Oh, I'd have like one beer.
Yeah. So there's been stuff like that.
But that was at the very beginning. Once people started paying me, I was just like, oh
yeah, God. That was different. But when it was just like,
did you ever see me have my super drunk days on the lives when I was hosting in the beginning?
I thought. I've seen you drink and stuff, and then I've seen you take shots with like homies on the live and stuff, but not where you're like, "Hey guys, I'm fucking hungover. Like, welcome to the flea." Like, not like that.
No, I never got too bad, but I would get pretty crazy. But it just made for a fun watch. But yeah, same thing. It's funny that you say that now. I think once I started getting paid to do virtual flea, I was like, yeah, I can't just be out here drunk while these people are trying to sell their teas.
Yeah, like those the weeks where we've had some drinks with us, we're like, selling with the homies, or like if I'm doing my own thing, like where I'm like hanging out, because we're in the comfort of our own home, so it's not like we're out there drinking and driving and stuff. So we're drinking at our own home, like having a beer, stuff like that. That was like at the begining, like we did that, or I'd have wine and stuff on the live. Like I'm at my home selling t-shirts with a friend, so like that's fine. But
and then he was referring to like ladies' night. Ladies' night would get a little wild.
It wasn't paid though. Like also,
it wasn't paid. It was just it was a fun show that I had for a while, and what would happen is that like at the end of the lineup,
that was great too. I love that.
Then me and the co-host Cam, we'd play game night, and we'd have some wine and just like interact with our viewers and have a good time.
Yeah. But I mean, under the influence, like hosting, you said, was it the question hosting or live?
Yeah,
no, I don't think I have. But she I mean, hosting your live, yeah, right.
Yeah, that was like the end portion though. So it'd be after.
It's not like you were plastered. You're like, guys, I love you so much.
Yeah, man. It was during the pandemic. It was fun. It was encouraged. Everybody had fun in the chat. People would be cheersing me. But now it's just like, people are like, "You're a mess. You're a mess right now." You've grown up so much.
Your health kick right now too. So.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I speak to you.
I'm in that. I feel lucky right now that I'm in that place where I got over the hump and I'm not lazy to go to the gym anymore. Now I'm in this dangerous place where I'm obsessed with going to the gym, but I have to manage that too because I don't want to burn out, But yeah, I'm having a fun little fitness journey right now.
Bro, we gotta have the 1980 Lift and Thrift Club.
Oh.
I'm trying to figure out how to merge vintage and I tried working out in my vintage tees one time, but I was like, I don't want to sweat up all my tees. Maybe just the one I'm doing the fit
Bro,
with, but
bro, the fitness lives do crazy well. Like especially like the yoga ones and like, you know, like workout lives, like that's a thing right now. People are hosting. Me and her just click through different lives on TikTok and different things, and people are hosting and getting paid to do yoga in their living room.
Their yoga classes they do through live stream. Yeah.
Live stream.
Dance classes.
They charge for the class. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you can take those as a
and workout too. Like people are filming themselves at their home gyms or something, or at their gym, and they're like, all right, guys, we're gonna do sets of 10. Let's go on. And like they're doing it and getting paid to personally train people on live. It's nuts.
Chris is gonna make a separate
right virtual fitness.
Might be something new for 1980 Fitness. Go.
Watch this. He's gonna have virtual fitness hosts and everything. He's gonna be like, all right, lift and thrift, got you. You can be the yoga sector, you can do Zumba, the virtual fitness.
Oh, Zumba.
The next virtual, I'm just gonna have a spin class. Yo, Henry, Haley, thank you guys so much for coming on. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time, but it was great. I still had a bunch of other stuff on here that I wanted to go through, but I was like, look, I can't have them for 5 hours. But hopefully I can have you guys back soon. If you guys are down.
Dude, anytime, we're willing to do it. Because this isn't like work for us. This is like a break from the lives and like selling and hosting. So this is like I always love.
Like
I love doing podcasts. It's like we're hanging out, we're just talking, get to know each other. But then we also find a lot of like the similarities in our story and like a lot of the cool stuff. Then he even brings up like the live host chat and all the stuff that we do together.
We guys talk about toe shoes.
On the way, foot pics on the way.
Dude, seriously, dude. But appreciate you for inviting us, man. Thank you so much. We'd love to do it again. Anytime you want. And man, I'm excited for the next virtual. When's the next virtual, man?
Yeah, can we get some insider?
When is this episode gonna drop? All right. I guess I could say it here on this episode since it's not gonna drop for like another couple weeks, but we're looking at right now LA, and we've zeroed in on
thank you.
We've zeroed in on a few venues, and I'm thinking maybe mid to late November. So
hell yeah.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. Dude, it's so
We've been waiting for LA.
I would have been waiting for some because it's close.
Yeah,
it's close by.
Or if you went to Washington
LA is just hard to navigate, you know what I mean? Even the last ThriftCon, their venue, you heard a bunch of negative stuff about it. So
regulations.
Yeah, and that's because like it's just crazy. Everything's booked up, everything's super expensive. So it just took us a while to, and then on top of that, I got busy, Kurt got busy. But getting back into it, we just had to find the right venue, which I think we are zeroing in on. And it would have been easy to have another one in another state. We had talked about like, back to Miami. I love Miami, but I was like, no, I was like, we do another virtual anywhere, but LA, we're canceled. The community is gonna cancel us, bro.
Yeah, people have like just from the outside perspective, people have been talking about, man, we need it here on this side, man. We've had them on that side. We have it in the middle of the country, but we need it on this side. And like, dude, yeah, I'm excited.
We're gonna plan a Disney trip around this because he hasn't been to Disney, so this is gonna be great.
Well, I've been to Disney. I lived in California before, but it was when I was like 4 years old.
That's part of the plan. I definitely want to do either like a Universal Studios or a Disneyland or whatever. But maybe we'll link up for that, man. I haven't taken the baby to Disneyland, so we could link up or something.
Hell yeah, we're down.
And by the way, you guys are the only ones that know about virtual LA outside of us camp. So keep it on the hush until we announce, please.
Got you. Won't say anything.
All right, guys.
I'm excited.
It was so great to meet, like finally talk to you guys and get to know you guys more. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And yeah, man, we'll be in touch. Much love to you guys. Thank you.
What's up, Chris? All right, bro. See you soon, man.
You guys.
Shoot.